Imagine being stuck in the same sales cycle for years, working harder and harder but never breaking through, only to experience a breakthrough that transforms your business and your life in a matter of weeks. That's exactly what happened to me, and here's the surprising part. It wasn't about finding the right tactic or strategy. You see, for over a decade, I tried every trick in the book, but nothing worked until I transformed myself at a deeper level. That's when I discovered the true power of superhuman selling, which isn't about working harder, but is about becoming a new version of yourself. Today, I'm going to share the 4 quadrants of quantum sales growth, the 4 M's, that help me break through. And they're not about just doing more work. They're about stepping into a higher level of being to create the sales results you've always dreamed of. Want to learn how? Keep listening. Welcome to Superhuman Selling. I'm Elise Archer. I'm a mom, wife, and CEO who figured out how to turn my annual income into my monthly income while working less after being stuck and struggling at the same level for over 10 years. And now I'm here to help you achieve quantum leaps in your business and your personal life. I'm Elise Archer, and I am so excited to bring you our very first episode of our new show, which is all about helping you create quantum leaps in your sales, your business, and your life. And so, over the course of the show, you're going to be getting to hear from incredible guests and have a lot of solo episodes from me. But today, what I wanted to do is I wanted to dive into what is this concept of superhuman selling and how can you apply it to quantum leap in your life? So, when I say superhuman selling, what does this even mean? Right? That's probably where your mind is going first. To me, it means doing things that are uncommon, that most people would say are not possible. And I'll share a little bit more of my own personal story today as we go throughout the episode of how I came into this and my own experience of finally getting unstuck after struggling at the same level for so long. But when I think about members of our community too, who have experienced superhuman selling and quantum leaping, there are so many stories, and it's more than we even have time for today. But I want you to think about what would it be like to 16x your income in 1 month, which we've had clients do, to 5x in 5 months in corporate, or go from being a nurse with zero sales background to selling over $1 million in 7 months. And for none of these clients was it about grinding, hustling, working harder. It was about learning how to tap into the version of themselves that's more expanded, more abundant, and who has everything that they want. And so we're going to talk about this today and about unlocking a lot of the hidden keys that will transform not just your sales results, but your business and your life as a whole as well. And so with superhuman selling, this doesn't mean that you're perfect. This doesn't mean that you're infallible. To me, it's really about tapping into that fullness of who you are, which has been wanting to come out for a long time and is very likely why you are feeling stuck right now at your current level of sales or results. And so even in my own life, a little bit of my own background, I spent over 10 years, first in corporate sales and then as an entrepreneur, checking the boxes, doing all the things that I thought I was supposed to do to be successful in sales. And I found myself in my late 20s, kind of looking around at my life and saying, this doesn't feel like it was supposed to. I had a nice house, a nice car. I was in a marriage. I had done all the things that I thought I was supposed to do to be successful. But inside, I was struggling and not telling anyone, struggling with panic attacks and eating disorder. And so I went on this journey, which involved untangling and releasing pretty much everything I'd built up in my life up until that point. Leaving the marriage, even though I was petrified of what people would say about being divorced in your 20s, left my corporate job, started a business, left a lot of old friendships that were just no longer aligned, and started completely fresh. And so that really started my path down personal development and learning more about myself and expanding in that way. But still, there was one area where no matter how much I tried to transform, I couldn't. And that was my money story. And so again, working hard, all the time. I thought that the path to success, even after I was an entrepreneur and out of corporate, I thought the path to success was to grind, was to hustle, was to just keep pushing harder to outwork everyone. I would do the vision board thing and put the vision board up on the wall and look at it. And I'd have pictures of, the amount of money I wanted in my bank account or the type of cars I wanted to drive, the type of house I wanted to live in. And yet all I would do was sit and look at that vision board and feel frustrated. So if you've ever been there and you've ever listened to stories of other people quantum leaping and thought, well, that's nice for them, but why is this not working for me? Right? I'm doing all the right things. I understand. I was there. And so during this time in my life, there were a lot of transformations that were happening that I was grateful for. Again, I had healed a lot of things with the panic attacks, the eating disorder, the anxiety. I had gotten into a beautiful new relationship with a man who is now my partner, my husband, the father of my children. And yet the money piece still felt so challenging. And I knew that I wanted more for my life. For my life, I wanted to have a seven-figure plus business. I wanted to be able to retire my husband from his night shift respiratory therapy job so he could pursue his dream of medical school. I wanted to be able to give on bigger levels. I wanted to be able to travel I wanted to be able to travel first class, right? And buy nice shoes and do all the things. And yet the level of income that I was stuck at, no matter how hard I worked, wouldn't allow me to do that. So for me, it was always low six figures. No matter how hard I worked, I couldn't break past that threshold and that plateau. And so, this was when my first son was about 4 months old. I read a book called The Top Five Regrets of the Dying by Bronnie Ware. And if you're not familiar with the book, she talks about being a hospice care worker and sitting with people on their deathbeds and listening to them recount their biggest regrets in their life. And the number one regret that people shared was, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to me rather than what everyone else expected of me. And that hit home. That hit home so big because I realized in my life how much I was hiding and how much I was playing small and how much not having the money was an excuse for me. If I didn't have the money, then I didn't have to really put myself out there. I didn't have to take risks. I didn't have to see what was actually possible for me. And so I realized how much I had been hiding. And around this time, a dear friend of mine who had been a podcast co-host passed away in his sleep at age 39. And I wasn't that much younger than him, and left behind a wife and 5 kids, and no one knew he was sick. He wasn't sick. He just didn't wake up one morning. And I remember thinking in that moment, I don't know how much longer I have, and I hope it's a long time, and I think it's a long time, but I do not want to get to the end of my life and say I never lived a life true to me. I never experienced my fullest potential. I never really went for it. And so I made a commitment right before my 35th birthday that I was going to finally experience the fullness of who I was. I didn't really know what that looked like, but I could tell how much even just the money thing had been holding me back and consuming my thoughts, how so much of my life and my time was consumed with self-doubt and how am I going to pay for this, even though money was flowing into my business and I was doing well, probably by most people's standards, was still feeling a lot of anxiety and fear around that. So you can be doing well by most people's standards and still be in scarcity energy, still be in fear, still be in lack, still be in this self-imposed cage that you're holding yourself in. And I thought, what would my life be like if I wasn't so in survival mode all the time, if I wasn't so consumed with these thoughts of self-doubt and restriction and worry and anxiety? And so I decided in that moment that I didn't care what it took. I was going to finally give myself permission to be powerful. I was going to give myself permission to experience the fullness of who I came here on this planet to be. And I knew that that wasn't a woman who played small. I knew that wasn't a woman who stayed stuck in a box and watched other people doing the things that I wanted to do, like speak on the big stages, have the really successful businesses, change people's lives at a deep level, and just watch them do it and say someday or maybe. Doing what I now call putting your life on layaway, which was what I was doing, saying when the money's there, when it's convenient, when I don't have a 4-month-old at home, then I'll go for it. I was like, no, I realized no one is coming to tell me I'm good enough. No one is coming to tell me it's time. And it's the same for you. If you're sitting here right now and you're reflecting on this and realizing that maybe even subconsciously, because we do this and we're not aware of it, you're waiting for someone to come give you permission to step into that fullness of who you are, to scale your business from 6 to 7 or multi 7 or 8, 9 figures beyond, right? To speak on the big stages, to launch the app, to go for the VP or C-level role in your company if you're in corporate. And yet you've been telling yourself that you're not good enough or that it's not time or that you need more experience. That ends today. I want to invite you that ends today. You are the only one who can give yourself permission to be powerful, and no one is going to come do that for you. And so on my 35th birthday, I made that decision that I was done playing small and I would do whatever it took. And it took getting radically uncomfortable, radically uncomfortable, and a series of events unfolded shortly after that. One where I had the invitation to invest in myself in coaching and mentoring in a way that felt extremely uncomfortable for me at the time, and the investment was $50,000 for 6 months of private coaching. And, what I knew in that moment with that opportunity was that I had to do it because I knew it would make me face every limiting belief I'd ever had about myself, about money. I was the breadwinner in our family. I thought, what am I doing? Am I putting our family in financial jeopardy or ruin? This is, half of what I made last year. I certainly didn't save it. I'd have to figure out a way to put it on a credit card. But so I made the decision to dive in knowing that I would have to face every demon that had been running the show for me, subconsciously holding me back. And so in that decision to go all in, I went down this crazy rabbit hole to uncover why was it that I had been working so hard for so long and yet still not able to ascend, still not able to get unstuck. And I realized that it wasn't so much about what I was doing. It was about who I was being inside, my self concept, my identity. And one of the things that I've learned since then is your results will never supersede your identity. And so I went on this deep dive into neuroscience, the power of the subconscious mind, uncovering limiting beliefs, studying the energy of money, studying feminine energy in business and how that plays in. And what happened was, even though it was extremely uncomfortable and there were a lot of what I call butt clenching moments saying, oh my gosh, what have I just done? In 6 weeks, I went from having been stuck at the same level for over 10 years to 10xing and turning my annual income into my monthly income. And I actually worked less during that time. And that was my first true quantum leap experience. And when I look back on what happened, this model downloaded that we teach in our community and in our programs and in our courses and to our members called the 4 quadrants of quantum sales growth. And so what I want to do today for the rest of our time together is give you a high level on what the 4 quadrants are and how you can implement them in your business and in your life. And we do have a free training for you to go deeper into this. If you go to elisearcher.com/4quadrants, it'll take you through a 7-day free course and you can binge it and do the whole thing in a day if you want. It's very, very powerful, but it'll be like a little mini masterclass in each of these. So you'll be able to go deeper. But for today, I want to give you high level in each of these. So again, how is it that someone can go from doing all the right things, but still stuck from a result standpoint, to suddenly quantum leaping? And it's not through working harder. It was through these 4 quadrants. And so we call these the 4 M's. So hopefully it makes it a little easier to remember. The first quadrant is called mind over matter. Now, when I say mind over matter, think about what shows up for you. So, very likely, you may think what I think a lot of us have been taught, which is you should just push through, just work harder, don't worry about how you feel. And that's actually not at all what I mean by this. What I mean by this is how your mind impacts the literal 3D matter in your life, your business results, your clients, how they show up for you, the type of home you live in, the car you drive, the impact you have. And so, what was so beautiful about my first quantum leap experience, and I continue to study this every single day because I find it so interesting and so fascinating, is that I got to really understand the power of the mind, the power of the subconscious mind on our results. So you can have a desire all day long for business growth, for more money, which is what I had for a long time. But if you have a subconscious pattern running that rich people are greedy, or it's not safe to be visible, or you're going to outshine someone else if you're too successful, or that money is hard to make, then you will always, always manifest from your subconscious beliefs, not the conscious mind. And that's why, in my own experience, for so long I felt frustrated because I thought, I know I want more. I know I'm meant for more. Why is it that I never feel like I can get there? Why do I keep running into blocks and running into um, limits with what's possible for me? It's because I had a lot of subconscious beliefs. I had a belief that, again, I wanted to have a that was my goal at the time, a seven-figure business. And when I thought about it consciously, I wanted that. But subconsciously, I thought seven figures was a lot of money. I don't anymore, but I did then. And so I got to really, really dive into the power of beliefs and learning that we actually manifest what feels natural for us. So we'll do more episodes for you specifically on money and upping your financial frequency and how to make the amount of money that you want to receive feel natural and normal to you. But I had to shift my belief to say, seven figures is natural and normal, and it's no big deal. And so there's so much when it comes to this quadrant. And again, you'll get more in the course when you dive in. But one thing that I think is really empowering to know is that there's a difference between a personal truth and a universal truth. And so this is where we have to start to question everything we've ever believed and everything we've ever been taught about money, success, business, life, how things work for us. So, a personal truth is something that may feel true to you, but it's not true to everyone on the planet. A universal truth is something that's true for everyone on the planet. So, think about the law of gravity, right? Doesn't matter where you are on the planet, we all have to play by it. You don't want to try to not play by it. You don't want to jump off the building, right? You're going to play by the law of gravity. So, that is a universal truth. However, you may have a personal truth that seven figures is a lot of money to make, or that people are going to judge you if you're too successful. And because that is your personal truth and your personal belief, you will experience things in your outer world that mirror that back to you, because the whole job of your subconscious mind is to make whatever the program is that's running your reality. So it will filter out all information, opportunities, etc., that do not align with your personal belief system about the world and how it operates for you. So if you have a belief that it's hard to make money, then you will always and only attract clients who maybe string you along, who give you a hard time when you go to ask for the money, or you'll find that you're working a lot of hours for only a little bit of money as well. That's because that's your belief. But you have to start to question, is this true for everyone? No. And I remember when I was in my first quantum leap, I would look at, all right, I know I want to make seven figures. And right now that feels big to me, but is that big for everyone? Is that a lot of money for Richard Branson? Is that a lot of money for Oprah? I would play with and kind of laugh with, like, if Kim Kardashian only made $1 million this year, she would think something was majorly wrong, right? She would think she was in the poorhouse. And so again, just fun little examples, but what's different about them versus me? What's different about them versus you? It's just the belief system. It's just the self concept. So there are tools and methodologies that you can use to create new beliefs and to align your belief systems with the results that you want to have. And when you do that, when you shift the belief, you shift your life. And so you'll learn more of those in the 4 quadrants of quantum sales growth course. I'll also dive deeper into those with you as we go here. But that's the first quadrant. The second quadrant, the second M is money. And this one is so important and so powerful. And so you have a financial set point. When I say a financial set point, you can kind of think about it like your body set point, right? So I certainly had a body journey. I had a weight journey. I've come to a place where I really love and accept my body, and that took work. That was not the case for much of my life. But I've found that I'm in a really beautiful place right now with my body. But I remember there was a period of time in my life where I really wanted to release some weight. And yet, no matter what I did, my body was staying at the same weight. That was its set point. That was its comfort zone. It didn't mean that it was where I wanted it to be, but that was where I felt comfortable. And so all of us have that with body and weight, whether it's where you would love to be or not. We also have it with money. So think about what is the average of what you've made the past 3 to 6 months, maybe longer. Like for me, again, for over 10 years, I was making 6 figures. And no matter what role I was in, whether I was in corporate, whether I was an entrepreneur, I always made the same amount of money. What I wasn't aware of was that was my set point. So your set point is just like a thermostat. All right. So if your set point is you make $5,000 a month and you have a big month where maybe it feels big for you, maybe you make 7,500, maybe you make 10,000 in your business, and you don't consciously adjust your set point to make that 10,000 feel natural and normal to you, the next month you will dip back down to get back into your comfort zone with money. Now, again, this may not be what you prefer. This may not be where you would love to be, but it's where your mind is wired. It's where your financial set point is. And so if you want to up your level of sales, if you want to grow your business, like, yes, is there some strategy involved in that? Yes. But you also want to really consciously up your financial set point. So maybe you're like I was several years ago and you want to go from 6 to 7 figures. 7 figures is a different frequency. $100,000 month is a different energy than a $10,000 month. You want to start getting around people who are doing that naturally and normally, who don't think that that's big, who in fact maybe think that that's small, or who help you shift the way that you see and experience money. Now, again, with money, there's so many elements of it. We're going to do a lot of episodes for you specifically on money, releasing money blocks, what those are, how to release money limiting beliefs. But your level of income will never exceed your level of self-worth. And so if you are looking to up your level of income, your level of sales, you have to feel worthy of what you want. So you want to practice feeling and experiencing worthiness of whatever the amount is that you desire coming in. The third quadrant of quantum sales growth. And this one, bear with me, because when I first heard about this, I thought, what are you talking about? What does this have to do with anything in business success? But it's aligning your masculine and your feminine energy. So we all have both types of energy. I think an easy analogy that I can use is the water in this cup. So masculine and feminine energy isn't about being a man or a woman. Again, we all have both, but it's about the energy you carry in your body. Masculine energy would be like this cup, like the glass that I'm holding. It's structured. It's logical. It's linear. It's in your sales and business process. It's your CRM. It's your scripts. It's the way I would say most people approach goal setting, which I will never teach SMART goals. By the way, I do not believe in the realistic piece at all, but it's how a lot of people think about that. That if you want to grow your business, then say maybe I'll grow my business 5 or 10% this year. And to do that, I'm going to need to talk to this many people a day. I'm going to need to present this many times a day. I'm going to need to close and I'll have this many clients. That is one way to do it. And that is masculine energy. Nothing wrong with that. However, most of us operate almost entirely in our masculine and we have no idea that we are. Feminine energy is something that I really wasn't familiar with for most of my life. And in fact, I had a lot of judgment on the feminine, which is really ironic because I run a company called She Sells. But I had a lot of judgment on it. I thought the feminine was weak. I didn't trust my feminine. But the feminine is like the water in this glass, it's life giving. It's about vision, it's about flow, it's about inspiration, it's about, it's about connecting with joy in the process and in the experience as well. It's about the journey versus the destination. And something that's so important to remember is you will never quantum leap from pure masculine energy. It's too logical, it's too linear. That 10-year period where I was stuck and struggling at the same level, I was completely in masculine. How do you know you're in masculine? You're overwhelmed, you're burnt out, you're depleted, you don't feel excited, you're exhausted, you're tired. And it was when I learned how to reconnect with feminine that actually my results skyrocketed. And I thought, "You've gotta be kidding me. This has been available to me the whole time. I'm actually having more fun. I'm enjoying the process more, and I'm working less, and yet my results are 10xing." So, learning how to align your masculine and your feminine energy is key to quantum leaping, to ascending, and again, this applies to all of us. So, if the term feminine energy, if you're listening to this and you're, "Man, I would think about feminine energy as flow state, right? We all know what that feels like when we tap into that flow state where you're just going, you're connected, it's easy. But there's so many beautiful nuances to both of these. And so we'll dive into them more throughout the show and also in the free training. And then the final quadrant, the fourth quadrant, this is the method. So this is where we get into the actual strategy that you're using. Now, what's powerful about this, those first three, we call those the big three. Those are the three that make the most difference: mind over matter, money, and masculine and feminine energy. Here's the thing with strategy: any strategy can work. And I've taught strategy for, oh my gosh, close to 2 decades now. In my experience, I have worked with and led strategy with some of the top entrepreneurs in the world, some of the top sales professionals in the world. So, does the strategy that you're using matter? Kind of, yeah. But what really matters is your belief in yourself and your belief in the strategy. I want you to think about it. Why is it that maybe two people in the same company are implementing the same strategy, right? They have the same script. Maybe they're both in a direct selling business together. They have the same script. They've both been taught the same process. And yet one is excelling, is earning all the awards, is making millions of dollars. And another one is not making nearly enough money to leave their corporate job and go make this full time, even though that's their vision, even though that's what they want. What's the difference? It's not the strategy. It's the first three that we talked about. It's their belief systems, it's their mindset, it's their self-worth, right? Because the energy that they're taking action in is completely different. And so action is important and it does matter. Yes. And I love teaching strategy with my clients. But if you're doing a lot of doing right now, if you're taking action, but you're finding that you're not moving forward and you feel like you're checking the boxes and you're doing the right things, but the needle's not moving, it's not the strategy. You've got to turn inward. You've got to check in with your own belief system. You've got to check in with your own level of self-worth. You got to up your financial thermostat. You got to look at, where am I not showing up in alignment with the version of me with all my goals accomplished, and do that work. Work on manifesting and being the version of you with your end goals accomplished. And from that place, you will probably take different actions. You will probably move your body differently in the world, but it's not going to feel harder. If you are in hustle mode, if you're in grind mode, if you're gripping, you are not in quantum leap energy, my friend. You're going to keep getting more of the same. You're going to keep staying stuck. So I want to invite you to really dig into these first three to help you unlock quantum sales growth. So I hope that was of service. Again, the free training is elisearcher.com/4 quadrants to go way deeper into that, and it'll take you into a much deeper dive into all of this. And then if you'd like to connect with my team about how you can grow and ascend your sales, your business, and your life, you can go to elisarcher.com/free call to connect with them. We're here to help you. We want to hear about your goals, your vision, your dreams, and help you craft a plan to get there. So I am so excited that you're here for the podcast. I cannot wait to keep connecting with you in these episodes. And I want to close out just by reminding you to trust yourself on your journey to success. Your desires are green lights, and by following them, you are going to improve the future, not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. I'll see you on our next episode. Remember to trust yourself on your path to success. Your desires are green lights, leading you and everyone else around you to a brighter future.